Today we're making jerk pork.
We've usually made this recipe in the oven, but today we're going to adapt it to the sous vide.
If you're new to kind of cooking, we do sous vide recipes and a lot of other things as well, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
When I was a kid, we had a lot of jerk chicken. It was one of our family's favorite meals that we would go out to eat. And I guess my mom started to make it at some point, and for us it was a real treat every time.
I haven't really had Caribbean flavored foods until I moved to Canada. The fragrant spices, the spiciness of itself, even though it's spicy, but it's still really flavorful. And just the char and the smokiness, it's just a flavor bomb in my mouth.
Well, let's get started. So I think a lot of the flavors come from this spice, the allspice. You can really smell that. So we're gonna throw that in. And then the other thing that provides a lot of flavor is the thyme. Okay, and the next thing where we get all the spice, these are scotch bonnets.
The first time we made it, we had 6 in there.
Yeah.
And that killed everybody. And eventually we're like, oh, let's do half. Oh, let's do a third. So I think 2 is okay for us.
Yeah, if you don't want it so hot, you can de-seed it, but no one wants to deal with that, so I just go less. It still has a flavor. Dark brown sugar. This is nutmeg, lime zest. This is ginger. One thing I did in this recipe that's a little different is I took garlic powder instead of raw garlic cloves because we're gonna cook this in the sous vide for a long time and I do not want the garlic to bloom, and so to be safe, I'm gonna use garlic powder in this recipe. The last thing is we're only using a little bit of lime juice just to help impart a little bit of flavor. If you use too much acidic stuff, it will break down the meat. It's gonna turn to mush and no one's gonna enjoy that. Okay, we have whole scallions here, 2 tablespoons of oil, and soy sauce.
What I found very interesting with Caribbean food is that they have a lot of Asian flavors involved.
After you go Vitamix, you can never go back. If there's anything you want to adjust.
Ooh.
Spicy. It's good though.
It tastes good, yeah.
All of it's there. Okay.
We're using a pork butt today because it is an inexpensive cut of meat and I like big butts and I cannot lie. Hey, where are you going? Oh, I don't want your butt.
Well, this is actually a relatively small piece. We use our other piece to make some tasio. And if you haven't seen that video, check the description. We'll have it down there below. It's one of our best things that we made.
Oh, well, another thing. Pork butt is not from the buttocks of the of the pork. It's from the shoulders. Just to clarify.
The first thing we're gonna do is salt it. As you know already, I don't like to put salt into my marinades a lot of times. I like to salt the meat, this way I can control it and I know exactly how much I can put on, and I can also add more or less of this as I please. So let's do that first. So this is an equal mix of salt and pepper. We're gonna put it all over. Okay, I'm gonna put on my gloves. So dealing with this recipe, please wear your gloves. That thing is spicy. You're gonna go pee, you're gonna touch your eyes. And actually in this time, you should not touch your face.
Do you still want the
string? Yes, I do. The string will keep this together because this one we took out the bone. There's no bone, well, not we. When we bought it, there was no bone. So we're going to leave it tied up. Okay, and since this is opened up, we can add some in there too.
flavor.
Flavor. We're gonna add a little rub on. We're not going to use the whole thing. We're just going to slather some onto this, put it in the sous vide bag, and then into the sous vide. We're gonna save the rest of it for tomorrow.
It's thick.
Yeah, this is a much thicker recipe this time to adapt for the sous vide. So we're gonna get it everywhere. We're gonna try to get it into everywhere. Okay. That's it for right now. We're going to put this into our sous vide bag. We're using a vacuum bag today because we are sous videing this for 24 hours. So you want to make sure this is going to stay closed. Okay. Okay.
We made a video on the Anova vacuum sealer before and how to use it, so if you're interested, the link is in the description down below.
The rest of your marinade, just put into a jar, put into your fridge, and when it's ready, we're going to use it before we finish it off. You can either put into your fridge to marinate overnight, or you can put into your sous vide now at 160 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 24 hours. So we finished the pork, and then right after that we put it into the fridge. We're gonna put a little more of the rub, the same rub we had before. We're just gonna put some of it on, and then I'm gonna spread it on. Get it into all the nooks and crannies in there. Once you put the marinade back on, we're gonna put it into the smoker. It's set to 250, and we're gonna leave it there till a nice crust it forms. I think it'll take about 3 to 4 hours. So to recap, we sous vide it for 20 hours at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. We strained the juices out, chilled the meat, took it back out, smoked it, and shredded it. A couple of things to keep in mind when you're using the smoker. Just to keep it moist, we put in a
pan of water.
And also every hour or so, I gave it a little spritz of apple cider vinegar just to keep it moist, and that way it absorbs more flavor. And the whole point of the smoker is just to bring that flavor of smoke in, and also to dry it out and make that nice crust. You don't need to do it in the smoker. You can do it like
in the oven as well.
Yeah, in the oven, or you can do it on the grill.
And if you adjust the time in the sous vide for a lower temperature and a longer time, you can get a sliceable pork butt instead of the shredded one that we just did.
Mm-hmm. Only one thing left to do. Taste it.
Yes.
So much flavor. It's really good. You can taste all the spices. It's just a little spicy. I think we could have maybe gone a little spicier, but I think this is a good mild, medium mild.
Now, how would you eat this?
All right, this is what I'm thinking. We do a yellow rice with peas and raisins with a nice crusty bottom. Mm-hmm. And another thing we can do is sandwiches with coleslaw. Mm-hmm. Or I think like the ultimate would be coconut bread, jerk pork, coleslaw. I think that would be ideal.
So if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up.
Hold on. One thing you never do is throw the liquid away. What do? We took it out, we strained it, we cooked it, we brought it to a boil in a pan, then we strained it again, put it into our separator, and then poured it over the meat, okay? This is all flavor. You know, just make sure it's not too salty, make sure it doesn't overpower, so that's the good stuff. All right, now you can tell them.
I'm too busy now, sorry. You can finish the rest.
If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any comments, leave them in the section below. And then don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Today we're making jerk pork.
What's my line?